I've got a problem. I want to build robots, and while I do have a moderate amount of workshop space that includes 3D printers, power tools, and even a decently sized CNC router, I want to build bigger and more durable machines out of better materials like stainless steel or titanium. But I don't have the capacity to work with these materials, and it's unlikely I will anytime soon. So what I'd rather do is send off my designs for someone else to manufacture them for me out of high-end materials, which is exactly why this video is happening, because today I'm talking to you about SendCutSend and my review of their services. Now, if you want to skip around, I've separated this video into chapters so you can watch just the parts that are relevant to you, or jump straight ahead to the pros and cons list if you're on a busy schedule. I won't judge. This video is entirely brought to you by them, but it is entirely written to you by me, because I think the most important part of any review video is trust. Why should you trust me? I'm a person on YouTube talking about a product or a service. Clearly, I'm just bought and paid for.
1. I have never done a dedicated review video before, despite having received many offers to do so for products and services in which I do not believe or use. I do believe in and use SendCutSend. 2. I have used their services for several years and ordered dozens of unique parts that have always come out exactly as requested. In fact, the only time I've been disappointed with their service is when I thought I received the wrong parts, only to realize that I made a mistake during my order and they manufactured exactly what I requested. 3. I did receive the services and materials used in this video for free, but the content of this video is entirely my own voice with no input from SendCutSend. With that out of the way, I'll run through the process of using SendCutSend to see if they're up to the challenge of my most complex sheet metal design for a robot chassis yet, Claptrap from Borderlands. And before I forget, you can use the link on screen and in the description to save 15% off your next order. Speaking of which, in order to order from SendCutSend, you need to have a vector or step file of your design. I use Fusion 360, so for my process to turn my model into something usable, I click on a face of a sheet metal part, create a sketch, and now I can export the sketch as a DXF. I can drag this onto the browser window, and within a second or two, I've now got my part ready to go. You can upload up to 10 designs at a time, so I'll need to do a couple batch uploads, but that's not too bad. Before I do any material selection, I always double check my files imported correctly. You can inspect your files in 2D and 3D at this point to see if any features may be missing. In order to actually choose a material for the part, you add it to your cart. You can choose from a variety of materials in various thicknesses. I've designed this chassis plate with 1.5mm galvanized steel in mind, so I'll go ahead and select that. Once you've chosen a material, you can see the per unit price, which gets a serious discount even at a 2-unit quantity, with volume discounts increasing from there. Afterwards, you can choose from various services like bending, countersinking, hardware insertion, and tapping. I don't need those for this part, so I'll move on to the post-processing step. Here you can see options for deburring, tumbling, anodizing, powder coating, and plating. The system automatically grays out any processes that aren't available for your material selection or part geometry. In my case, I've already got galvanized steel that I plan to paint, so I'll go with no finish as that's the fastest option and I'm impatient. But let's also go through the bending process on another part. I'm going to select this plate, which makes up the core arm structure of my robot. It's beyond the scope of this video to explain how to design for sheet metal and creating a flat pattern, but I've left a link to a tutorial in the description. Now I can go through and set the angles of each bend. The 3D viewer makes this really straightforward to use, which is good because I'm noticing an issue. The first flange I set should be 102 degrees, and it doesn't look right, so let me check my model. Okay, that should be slightly angled down. My perception of how the bend should actually go is off, so setting it to 78 degrees seems to be the correct angle. Now I can add this to my cart. We'll skip forward from here because I ordered dozens of parts and the checkout process is just entering personal information. Checkout is just like every other online shop. I ordered my parts on Friday, June 7th, and they arrived on Saturday, June 15th. So about a week. Your mileage may vary as I didn't choose any major post-processing steps. As soon as you place your order, you get periodic updates on the status of your parts as they move from production all the way to delivery, which is very satisfying. My parts arrived in one large cardboard box. Inside, we find some standard packing material, a packing list, some promotional material, stickers, and candy. Oh, and all the parts I ordered. Everything is vacuum sealed to a cardboard sheet, which not only keeps everything safe and secure, but is very satisfying to peel away. I always double check the invoice to see if anything slipped by. In this case, I actually received some bonus parts. I can't promise you will receive bonus parts too, but the bonus parts fairy does exist and may occasionally grant you some spare goodies. My parts all came out as requested and in tolerance, but more importantly, they look good when fully assembled. So let's summarize. Things I like: instant quotes, good material selection, reliable dimensional accuracy, volume discounts, fair shipping, frequent progress updates, and spare parts. Tapping and other services are too expensive. At $3 per tapped hole, I will gladly do it myself. That's just way too high, especially considering adding hardware is much cheaper. There are visible burrs on thick parts, which is why I don't ever select powder coating or anodizing, because I want the burrs gone, not protected. If that was an option to have burrs and holes and large parts removed before, I would gladly pay for one of the other processes. And it's US and Canada only. This doesn't affect me, but hopefully these services can benefit more than 2 countries in the near future.
That's it. I hope you found this review useful. And I know it was entirely sponsor driven, but building robots is really complicated and expensive, and I wouldn't be able to do what I do without support from companies like SendCutSend, and I'm extremely grateful that they want to help me make cool stuff that you guys want to see. So thanks again, guys, and thank you again, as always, to my Patreon supporters. You guys are objectively good people.